Looking at the Markets with David Modell.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Looking at the Markets with David Modell. I know that you love charts, you love candlesticks, you love indicators, Bollinger Bands, RSI, all that good stuff. And I just want to give you some interesting, amazing tips that I think you can use to improve your ability to use charts, to use candles, to use the indicators, and we might even show you something that's even better than candlesticks. Better than candlesticks? Is it possible? It is, all right. And so what I've got is a chart here, and it's on trendspider.com. And by the way, you can stop this video anytime and go to trendspider.com if you want to check out their platform, because I used to use other platforms and it just didn't have all the tools and all the cool stuff that TrendSpider has. So you can either click on the link in the description below this video, or you could just go there, trendspider.com. And after I'm done presenting, I'm also going to have Jake from TrendSpider give you another presentation. So you're getting 2 for 1 today. So first of all, Jake, thank you for stopping by today.
Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to showing you guys some charts.
Yeah, you're getting a double presentation with this, all right? And so as you can see, it is CGC Canopy Growth Corp I've got up here. And I've got the daily candlestick chart. But everything I'm going to say, and practically everything that Jake is going to tell you, I believe can be adjusted in terms of time. Okay, so everything I'm saying today can be adjusted to, I've got it daily, but, if I wanted to, I could put up the hourly chart on TrendSpider. I could put up, if you're more of an intraday kind of guy, you could put up the 5-minute, the 1-minute, the 2-minute, and it does it very, very quickly, all right? But, just to make it simple, I'm going to stick with the daily chart because one of my favorite things to do is to swing trade, all right? Now, as you can see, CGC, that's Canopy Growth Corp, it is down and it is touching that lower Bollinger Band. And if you're not super familiar with Bollinger Bands, all it is in the middle, you've got your 20 period, and in this case, because it's a daily candlestick chart, you've got your 20-day simple moving average, okay? And so this middle line here on the Bollinger Bands, which you can pull up easily here on this platform, basically it's just an average of the last 20 closing prices, okay? The last 20 closes on the candlesticks, all right? And so that's all that is. It just gives you the trend, all right? And so when it's at that midline, I tend to think that at least short term, that it's, about the average price. It's about where it should be. All right. And then you've got an upper line, the upper Bollinger Band and the lower Bollinger Band. And that's a really simple way to get an overbought or expensive indicator, okay? When it goes above, when a candlestick closes above this upper band, that means it's expensive, at least short-term expensive. And so if you already own it, what you can do is you can sell it. When you get a green candle closing clearly above the top line here, the upper Bollinger Band, and you know what a lot of people do? They don't sell right then. What they do is they wait until it closes above, and then after that closes below that upper Bollinger Band. That's a great way to go because then you know the trend is changing, all right? And so let's say you own CGC stock, and then you wait until it closes above the top band, and then you're thinking, well, maybe it could go higher. And so you be patient, you still hold your shares, but then the trend changes. It starts to turn around, go back down, and it closes below that upper Bollinger Band. The trend is changing, the price is expensive and starting to fall down. That's not good. That's a great time to sell your shares, okay? But when do you buy it? When do you get in? Well, what I like to do, one thing that people could do, and this is a really simple strategy, is wait until, and it looks like it might happen soon. You see how if you could see that candle, it's sitting right on that lower Bollinger Band, sitting there. I'm not going to buy yet though. Not going to buy it yet. I'm going to wait until it clearly closes below it, which it does happen. You could see it happened here, happened here, happened here. So you might have to wait a while, but there are those times when it closes clearly below it. And if you're really patient, then what you do is you wait for the trend change. You wait till it closes clearly below the lower Bollinger Band, and then you wait until it then turns around and closes above it with a green candle. Okay, so closes below it with a red candle, then wait until it closes above that lower band with a green candle. That's, again, a trend change, okay, because you don't want to catch a falling knife while it's falling. You might have heard that old saying, don't catch a falling knife, because you might cut yourself, okay? You don't want to do that. And so I don't necessarily buy after it breaks below that lower band with a red candle, because I don't want to catch a falling knife. I want to wait until it then afterwards closes above the lower band with a nice green candle. Then it's not a falling knife anymore. The trend, it's cheap, okay, because it's down, but now it's coming back up. It's hooking back up. And so that's a time to get in if you want to use this method. And then when do you get out? Well, you wait until it closes above the top band with a green candle, and then wait for the trend reversal when it closes below it with a red candle. That's a super simple method. Now, maybe you don't want to pay attention to this all the time. So what I did was I put an alert. You see how that lower band has a little kind of shading around it? What I did was on TrendSpider, and I don't see this on other platforms, okay? So this is a TrendSpider thing, and you got to go to trendspider.com to get this platform if you want to do this. What I did was I made an alert, Bollinger Bands Oversold Alert, when it breaks through. And, you know, I could change the parameters. I could either make it so that it triggers it and tells me when it breaks through, or maybe just when it touches that line, that lower band, all right, or maybe when it bounces from it, and I could set the parameters, okay, and how wide is that line going to be. I could have made these shadows bigger for more sensitivity. I could have made them smaller for less sensitivity or less of a range here. You can change these things, all right. And Jake is going to have more information on how you can change all the cool features. So stick around for this entire video. You don't want to miss what Jake has to say. Believe me, he knows a lot more about this platform than I do. Okay, what if you're an RSI kind of person? That's cool too. You see how I've got the RSI up there, the Relative Strength Index. Some people use that instead of the Bollinger Bands, or maybe they use it as a confirmation. Notice that although it is not quite what I'm looking for as far as breaking down below the lower Bollinger Band and then breaking up above it, it is oversold on the RSI. What is RSI? Relative Strength Index. And you can just easily put that up on TrendSpider. And how this works is very, very similar. You can wait until it goes below 30, which is the standard oversold or cheap, basically, a bargain reading. Okay, when it goes below 30, then that means it's cheap, but I want to wait for a trend reversal, so I'm going to wait till it goes below 30 and then pops back above it clearly. Okay, and if I don't feel like watching this all the time, on TrendSpider you can put in an RSI Oversold Alert. You see the alert here, and you can change it, you can alter it, and you can put as many of these alerts as you want to. All right, I've got it set up so that when it closes below 30, it's going to tell me. All right, it's going to alert me, and then if I wanted to, I could put another alert for when it pops back above it. Okay, so when it goes below and then pops back above, that means that yes, it's cheap, but I'm not catching falling knife because it's popping back above it. So there's that trend reversal. When can you sell it? If you want to use this methodology, this strategy, then you can wait until it goes above 70, which is the standard setting, and you can change those settings, by the way. You can change those numbers on TrendSpider, but if you want to use the standard settings, you can sell it when it goes back above 70, but I'm not going to sell it right then because it might keep going up. I'm going to wait till it reverses trend and then closes back below 70 after having gone above it, all right? And so it's very similar to the way I use oversold and overbought in the Bollinger Bands. By the way, you can combine these. If it closes below here and then pops back above it on the lower band in the Bollinger Bands, you might say, I want some confirmation. You can check with the RSI to see if it did the same thing here. If you're wanting to know when to sell it, and some people short it, when it goes into overbought and then back below, by the way. You can use that as a shorting technique, but please be careful with shorting. Please be careful with all these strategies, all right? Use your own judgment. Don't just blindly do something because charts told you to. You got to use your own common sense, make your own decisions. Don't do something just because an indicator is telling you to. But if you want to use this as a way to help you, you can confirm the Bollinger Bands with the RSI. See if it's doing the same thing, or confirm your RSI with your Bollinger Bands, all right? And so CGC is a great example. Now, what if you're into trend lines? I'm going to show you really quickly what that looks like. So I'm going to take off some of these things here so I can show you clearly. You can easily put, let's say draw. And then I'm super simple. Okay, you can do it manually, or if you just want maybe the system, the platform here on TrendSpider to do it for you. I was going to draw the lines, but hey, you know what? Why not let TrendSpider do it for you? I just, with literally one click of a button, it put up all these lines for me. How cool is that? And don't worry, you could take it off. Sure, you could do it manually. You could hit draw and then segment line, and look at that trend line right there. Let's say right here, I'm going to start 1, 2, whoops, let me try that. There we go, 3 data points. I like that. What do I look for? Here's some tips right here. What do I look for with trend lines? I'm looking for more data points. That's stronger. Okay, if something only has 2 data points, meaning it only touches the trend line twice, that's not as strong for me. I want 3 or more. 4 is even better. 5 is even better. Okay, and then you could start to see a channel. And so let's draw another one. Let's draw another segment line here. And we're going to start here. And only 2 data points on this one. Not quite as good, but you get a channel, which is pretty cool. You can play the channel. Notice how the Bollinger Bands were like a channel, kind of a rinse and repeat thing where it went below and then above the bottom channel, and then you can sell when it goes below and then back down below the top channel. RSI is kind of like a channel type of thing. You can make your own channels, all right? And so you can kind of play the channel. So you can buy when it's at the bottom channel and then sell when it's at the top. Buy when it's at the bottom, rinse and repeat kind of thing. That's another way to go. But it's stronger when you have more data points. Unfortunately, this upper resistance line here, when it's the top line is called resistance, bottom line of the channel is called support. When it has 3 or more data points, when it's touching it 3 or more times, I like that. I'm more likely to use it, okay? When it's only twice, I'm less likely to use it. Also, when there's a lot of space or a lot of time between the data points, that's less strong for me, okay? So let's say you only had 2 data points, and the first one was here a long time ago, and then the last one was not until, way back here, okay? Maybe back in January or December. That's not as strong. So when the data points are recent, that's stronger. These are recent data points. I like that. When there are more of them, 1, 2, 3, I like that. When they're closer together, when they're not far apart, when there aren't many months between them, I like that. Those are 3 tips right there for you. You want to look for more data points. You want to look for recent data points, not 6 months ago necessarily, or a year ago. And you want to look for them being, so you want them to be recent, and you want them to be closer together. When there's too much space between them, when you got, 1 data point here, and then the last one before that was way back here, too much time between them. Okay, it's not as meaningful to me, not as significant. So look for more data points, look for recent data points, and look for less space or time between them. You want them closer together. 3 tips for you right there when you're looking for strong trend lines. When they're too weak as far as trend lines, when those 3 things, those 3 criteria are not coming together, I don't like that so much, okay? And so this resistance line, not too strong, just because not so many data points, and the last one was kind of a while ago. I want to see something more recent. So I might not take profits here, but look at this bottom one. 3 data points, close together, and recent. So this is powerful. This is a pretty good buy point, like right now. Right now, this is not a terrible time. I'm not telling you to buy CGC Canopy Growth Corp, but if I'm going to buy it, notice it has pretty consistently bounced off of it. It bounced off of it here, bounced off of it here a little bit. I kind of like this price. If you want an actionable alert, I'm going to try to put this video out today or tomorrow so that maybe you can act on this one, okay? On the other hand, what are the Bollinger Bands telling me? It's telling me maybe don't buy it yet. Wait until it goes back above 30 on the RSI or back above, the Bollinger Bands here. I'm going to erase this one so you can see what I'm talking about. Wait until it goes back above the lower band here with the Bollinger Bands before you even consider buying it. If you don't feel like drawing all these segments, all you have to do is set it up and hit that trends button. Bam, it draws them for you. All right, I like this one over here. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4 data points on this one. Nice. And it's got a recent one here. There is some time between them, but when you have 4 data points, there's going to be some time between them. All right, that's pretty normal. As opposed to, let's say, let me erase some of them here. It's pretty easy to remove the trend line so we can see what we're doing. Notice it drew the channel that I was talking about. Drew it a lot better than I did, tell you what. This one, not so strong. Only 2 data points. And yeah, they're close together, but they're not that recent, whereas this one is nice and recent. That's the one that I basically drew. I like it, all right? And if that's too much for you, that's cool. Just click that button again, it's gone. So that's how I think about the criteria for trend lines, whether they're significant and strong or not. That's how I think about using Bollinger Bands and RSI generally. And you got to make your own decisions, folks. All right. Listen, I am not a licensed or registered investment advisor. And Jake will give you his disclaimer, but, make your own decisions. But I hope that you can use these ideas, and I hope that you can use TrendSpider. And I think Jake, if you stick around, he might even give you a code that can even get you a better price on TrendSpider, an amazing price. So I'm going to stop my presenting, and we're going to go over to Jake from TrendSpider.com and look at all the cool stuff he's got for us today. So Jake, thank you for coming on to Looking at the Markets. I can't wait to see what you got.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And if you guys heard that really loud, annoying beep, that was the alert that just went off on my charts. That was kind of cool that this literally just went off. And so simply what I had here, and just to explain kind of what you just heard, was an alert going off for this previous area of resistance that we saw in September of 2018. This was May of 2019. And then, you extend these 2 areas, you can see this was once again resistance, support, and now it's attempting to be support again. And you can see here that essentially I had this line right here. So it touched right where it was previously. And it technically has bounced a little bit since that alert went off when David was talking. So you can see that this clearly is a very strong area that buyers are looking at possibly, coming in and stepping up. However, this is the daily candle. This can easily continue to move down, and I'll get another alert essentially telling me whenever this price action breaks down through here. So kind of a real life scenario here of literally seeing how the price action is already respecting this area. So if I would have been actively trading right now, I would have gotten this alert. I would have said, okay, this is touching this area. Maybe it's time to jump back in. And, there's all types of traders. I personally probably wouldn't have done this, but if you are a scalping kind of day trader, you could have easily scalped this for a quick $1 on the SPY or even 50 cents. And if you're playing options, that could have been a big swing very quickly. And we can see this is already bouncing even harder now. So this is the alert system in action. Let's say, who knows, if we do continue to bounce here, which I personally don't know if that's going to happen, but same thing David said, this is not investment advice or anything like that. I'm not licensed. I'm just really showing you guys some of the core features of the platform. But if this did decide to completely reverse, go the other way, and test this previous area of support, which is now resistance above, I can go in, create an alert for this area as well. Let's say I want to be alerted whenever the price touches or bounces. I can even create the sensitivity here. So let's say that I don't want just the trend line to be tested here. So you can see here, when the sensitivity is all the way to the left, you can see there's no area of kind of a margin of error, if you will. You're only going to get the alert when that price action tests this exact line. Well, that doesn't always happen. What you can do here is increase that sensitivity zone, and then the price action, whenever it gets anywhere within this purple area, it doesn't necessarily have to hit this line. That's when you will be alerted. So for example, I'm not sure what just happened there. I think the system just updated. Sorry about that. Create the alert at this area. And, we can increase or decrease the sensitivity. For me, let's say that I want to be alerted within $1, and it says $1.03 of the selected line. Go to, let's say, the 5-minute. So that means whenever the 5-minute candle, if it did decide to absolutely rip today, and the 5-minute candle closed in this area, and maybe not necessarily the daily candle closed in this area, I would use the confirmation candle of 5 minutes. I would name this previous S, now R, have it expire in, let's say, 7 days, because after that, I don't think, that price action is going to be that relevant. I think something's going to happen within 7 days. And this will also expire if this triggers one time. I can choose all the way up to 10 times. So if the price action touches this area up to 10 times, I will be alerted. Alerts created, and now pretty much whenever the price action breaks through either this crucial area above or this crucial area below, I'll be alerted. So definitely a new way to make your life a little easier, especially when you don't have time to stare at the chart all day. A lot of people, even those who trade full time, don't necessarily want to stare at the chart all day because it makes you emotional. It makes you want to just click the button, not necessarily, logically make a trade. Sometimes you get impulsive just staring at the chart, oh, it's been 5 minutes and I haven't bought anything. That's a way to quickly overtrade. And so what we're really doing here is letting the market come to you and having these levels really be alerted on the back end, where only when these specific criteria occur is when you'll really need to go to the chart and look at it. So we can see here, we had a nice bounce, price actions coming back to possibly test this area. And, if I go back and start doing, my full-time job, which is being a founder of TrendSpider, I'm not going to have time to stare at this all day. And I'll just know when this does break on the 5-minute, that's when I'm going to be alerted. So that is one way you can use the system in a very efficient manner. Another way, and as you mentioned a little bit, is using some of the automated features that come with TrendSpider. So for example, we've got the trend lines that I automatically just clicked right here. We've got the Fibonacci levels that you can also play around with. So let me get rid of some of these drawings that I have drawn here. And you'll see, without me clicking anything, these two areas have really popped up on the chart. And I could even change these. So right now, this is looking at a very broad trend line setting set. If I want to look for closer price action, I could go to enhanced, and you'll see these areas are not only changing that the system's finding, but you'll see here that the measured move that the system's catching is actually changing as well on the Fibonacci side. So right now we're kind of breaking down through this measured move right here. If we did, let's say, go to, original, that's when the measured move for the fibs will change. So you can see here, we literally are retesting this previous top, and pretty much a very similar line to what we had drawn before. And if you did want to use fibs instead of a trend line, you could easily create an alert on this line as well. And so simply by just kind of moving this side to side, choosing your sensitivity. But you can see here, the trend line that I found, and I'm pretty sure this is what the system found, and I just double clicked on it to change the color. But this is actually a stronger line. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 tests here. So really something to watch into the rest of the week to see if this area holds. And if it doesn't, that may be just a self-fulfilling sell signal that we're starting to break through previous resistance, which now is failing as support. So that's kind of how I use the system. I did want to show the raindrops as well that David mentioned at the beginning of the video. And essentially what those are volume-based candles. So what you can see here, and let me turn off some of these features to clean up the chart a little bit. What you can see here is we've got, this volume-based candle where, and I'll just do a candle that's already been, this candle's still in the process of forming. So let's just do this candle right here. And this is an easy one to kind of get a grasp. So this is, in this case, the daily raindrop, because we're on the daily time frame. And instead of an open and close, you've got a left VWAP, which is the first half of the day, in this case, because we're on the daily candle. If it was the 30-minute candle, it'd be the first 15 minutes and the second 15 minutes. But in this case, we've got the first half of the day, second half of the day. And what you can see here is on top of that, we've got the volume profile for each half of the day. So in this case, we can see during the first half of on June 7th, we have the volume profile for this particular price range painted across the entire range. So we know during the first half of June 7th, we had volume and price action along the entire range. During the second half of this particular day, we had literally only volume focused near the top half of this price action. And we know that because there's no volume profile during this second half at this price range. And as just as I mentioned, the very bottom is the low, very top is the high. And here we can see this low was created from the volume in the first half, and then there was no volume during the second half because it's completely flat. All of that volume was focused from, this is, if you look to the right here, this is around 287, and then all the way up to around 288.68. And so we can see that buyers were really in control during the second half of the day because all of that volume was really focused during the top half here. And then we did have a continuation candle before really continuing up after that as well. So in this case, from this candle, there was about a 2% move up on SPY. So, on the common stock, that's not a ton, but if you are trading options or trading something that has a little more leverage, a 2% move in a couple of days can really make some money. So that's definitely something that we have recently introduced this summer. And what's really cool about this is you can really start to use this in a practical way, looking at how volume is flowing throughout a particular period. Here's a cool case study of Amazon, looking at a few different patterns that we've come up with. First, you can see this blue raindrop is essentially when the VWAP for the first and the second half of the period are exactly the same. So in this case, we would call this like a true doji. You can see the bar on the left-hand side and the bar, the horizontal bar on the right-hand side are literally equal, creating that doji. And then you can see there was quite a move down after that. So one, these blue raindrops are a pretty decent indicator, especially on your big stocks like Amazon, Facebook, Google, even United Healthcare. It's very responsive on United Healthcare for some reason. But what you can see here is not only was it a area of volatility to the downside, but it acted as an area of resistance once it retested this area after kind of this V shape. And then finally, when we broke out, we've got what we call a balloon. And a balloon is a very interesting pattern here. And essentially what it is it's when you're breaking out of, in this case, like a double top area. And you can see here that the balloon is showing that it didn't take a lot of volume to break to the upside here. It was simply showing that a lot of this volume for this particular day, March 18th, during the first half of the day, you can see a lot of that volume focused at the top of the range. And then during the second day, all of that volume was also focused up here. And it looks like, demand is rising, similar to hot air in a balloon. And you can see how we had a continuation up. That's one example. You can see this again on a price channel here, where we've got the downward sloping price channel from May. We had the breakout, we had the balloon form and a hard move up the next day. And from there, a hard continuation up of about, I think, like 12% from here. So we had a breakout and then topped out about, oh, sorry, not 12%, 8%. But still a pretty big move within literally 22 trading days. So these can be very interesting. And, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at hello@trendspider.com or on our social media pages. We're very active on there. And, we do have a white paper on these raindrops. We have plenty of different videos and webinars we've done in the past that you can see recordings of. So, we're very excited about these and excited to hear anyone's feedback that tries them out. So thanks so much, David, for having me on. And, you can use the code MDL15 to get a 15% off coupon for up to 12 months. So if you do an annual subscription, you would get 15% off that entire cost. So definitely a good deal to take advantage of. We do have a free trial before that, but if you did want to lock in that coupon code, you would put in that coupon code when you're setting up the trial. So if you have any questions on getting that set up, please feel free to reach out. But once again, that's MDL15 is the 15% off. And once again, you can get that free trial before you sign up, so you're not necessarily buying into something before really trying it out. We want to make sure it adds value before you're charging a card payment. So,
Got it. Okay, so the coupon code for 15% off the already really good price is MDL15. Is that correct?
Yep, MDL15.
Got it. Okay, and there's also a 7-day free trial, and I highly recommend that. If you're totally unsure as to whether this is for you, you could check it out for a week for free with that free trial, and then I can only imagine that you're going to want to continue to use it, and then you can type in MDL15 for the coupon code. Very cool, and you can unlock all the features that we've shown you on TrendSpider. I really think those raindrops are so cool because, as you can see on the screen right now, those raindrops give more information, more data than traditional candlesticks. All right. Yeah. Okay. So you've got the open, high, low, and close on regular traditional candlesticks, but do you have the volume embedded in there? Can you see how the volume changed throughout the period, throughout the candle? Not really. Okay. So with these raindrops, you're getting more information, and it just looks really cool. I think that TrendSpider has invented something that I would not be surprised if you get some copycat type stuff on other platforms and it won't be as good, and they didn't invent it and perfect it like TrendSpider is doing. So Jake, I want to thank you for this great information today. I picked up a lot of cool stuff. Any last words, Jake, for the audience?
Sure. Yeah. Just thank you so much for your time watching this video. While you were talking a little bit, I did pull up the strategy tester for these raindrops. Okay. So I did a strategy test here where I just had the system look for any time there was a blue raindrop and tell me what the return was after 10 candles. So in this case, I can see on United Healthcare, within 10 candles, there was almost 11% drop here. Another blue raindrop forms within one candle, and we had over 6% move within 10 candles. So these are very predictable as far as volatility. It's just not always predictable on which way that volatility is going to go. And so these can definitely be something for those who like to trade options and really just like to bet on volatility rather than a direction necessarily. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's say that you do like how the blue raindrop looks. You can see here, alert me next time this happens. Create the alert. UNH blue raindrop. Next time a blue raindrop forms on this chart, I'll be alerted. And it's that simple.
I like the alerts. I like the fact that you can change the sensitivity on the, and the parameters on a lot of these things that you can't do on other platforms so easily or at all. The raindrops are proprietary. You're not going to see that on other platforms right now. So TrendSpider is the place to start. MDL15 is the coupon code. Enter that in, get a 15% discount on your subscription. Try out the 7-day free trial if you're still not convinced. And then I think you will be convinced. I know you will be. Jake, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on Looking at the Markets.
Thank you so much for having me, and hopefully we can do another one of these soon.